Oh my God. I don't even know where to start. I've just realised what's happened. So, you know the last post I just did about fate and destiny and all of that, right? I thought right up until a couple of minutes after I uploaded that post, that video, that I was headed in a certain direction with somebody that I could have possibly done a collaboration with, you know, in life, whatever, blah, 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 right? I hadn't heard from them in a few hours. Like, usually it was, you know, like they're there every couple of hours, and I hadn't heard from them. That's fine, it's not unusual. And then for some strange reason, after I uploaded the video, I checked on them to see if there was any signs of life and saw something that basically had informed me that where I thought this collaboration was going with us was not going to happen. This person, this situation had gone in a different direction. So, okay, bit of a shock. But I'm like, right, that's fine, because obviously, you know, like I was saying in the video, when these things happen, you know, how you react to it is going to decide what happens next. It shapes the course of your path. So I kind of said my goodbye energetically, did the grieving, you know, cut the cords, did the release. Okay, that's fine. And decided to kind of just focus on my podcast, my channel, the foundation, the radio station, doing the investigations that I love, you know, started, right, okay, so that's been removed. It's obviously not meant to be a path I'm to go down, so instead of worrying about it, instead of stressing, instead of questioning it, just say your goodbyes for your own internal healing, you know, for your own closure. Move on. Don't wallow, don't grieve, just accept that it is what it is. You know, rejection is God's protection, but it's also, rejection is also ancestral selection. It's your ancestors and your ancestral gods' way of saying, this isn't for you. So then I thought, okay, I need to delete my X app, because that phase of my life is over and done with now. I've served God in that area. It's time to move on and just focus on me now, and building my shows and my podcasts and my foundation and my future, and, you know, finish my books and stuff. So I decided to just have a coffee and watch this video with the feed dropping up, you know, because obviously my algorithms for my YouTube and that often come up with a lot of suggestions that are to do with the occult and the supernatural and the paranormal and that. I mostly yell at them and ignore them and that, because it's all just hoo-ha and hokum. But there, you know, there was this one, I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I started watching it. And it's in my community section. I'll put the links and everything in the description box of this, so you can see what I've been doing, but it's in the community section, and it's this man who's doing an investigation in Cornwall of a graveyard where a witch was buried and her name was Joan White. And then, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to put that on the list of places to visit when my boys and I get out of here, because we've said that when we get out of here, to just kind of regroup and regather and re-energize, and that we're going to, you know, do like a tour of the UK. I'm going to hire a driver, and we're going to drive around and, you know, just visit places that we want to visit. And I want to visit places of supernatural and paranormal history, places of historical grief and that, so that I can have these little adventures with my boys, and also do what I love so much, which is, you know, historical grief investigations, and taking my Tané Clay to like cleanse areas where there's been, you know, places of historical grief, and, you know, like Whitechapel, and anywhere, you know, there's like little out of the way churches that nobody knows about in Lancashire that I need to go to, where the devil worshippers have done animal and human sacrifices in the grounds and blah blah blah. So I'll go with my Tané Clay, and I'll cleanse it, and, you know, so that there is no more paranormal activity there, because then it stops the gorehounds from wanting to go there and further damage these areas energetically, where my Papa Tuanuku, Grandmother Earth, is soaking up all that energy, right? And it causes her distress, and she reflects that back, and it causes us distress, because it's all energy, which, as I've said before, is transferable like an STD. So I invented my Tané Clay so that we can go to places like Normandy and Dunkirk and Ypres and Passchendaele, and like these little out of the way churches, and Arthur's Seat, and all of these places, and I can push my Tané Clay into the ground, and it's all done. My boys and I did Fountains Abbey as well, which is also up on my Instagram, the cleansing of Fountains Abbey that we did a couple of years ago before my ex tried to kill me. But so I'm watching this video and I'm listening to it, and then it was just like a bolt of lightning out of the blue, because I thought, because I'd had a dream where I'd promised Joan of Arc. I had a dream where Joan of Arc came down and said that I needed to clear the names of the witches, and, you know, blah blah blah. The whole conversation of the dream is linked. You'll be able to read it. And then I thought, Joan of Arc, the witch's name in the video is called Joan White, and then I've just read the dream, and it sounds like Joan of Arc has come down in the form of this Joan White, who was also unfairly persecuted and imprisoned for being completely misunderstood. And in the conversation, she says, I hope, like, I'm paraphrasing here, Joan of Arc says, I hope you're okay with the fact that we've removed you from the path, you know, that you thought you were headed down. We've got someone else for you, someone more in line with who you are. Which is just completely tied into the video that I just made and the situation that's just happened right after posting the video. So if you listen to the video I just made about fate, and then you watch in the community section stuff what I wrote about the video that fell into my lap, and then the dream that came afterwards, where I realised Joan of Arc has come down in the form, or Joan White, Joan of Arc, Joan, that, you know, the heavenly angel falling from heaven. I talk about Joan of Arc, like, you know, being showered by, like, surrounded by white light and blah blah blah, and the witch in the dream, in the cemetery video is called Joan White. And because Joan of Arc was accused of being a witch as well. So Joan of Arc, St Joan of Arc, Yen, has just dropped on my lap with that video and reminded me that I am here to clear the names of people who have been accused of and executed and persecuted for heresy and witchcraft, because I made a promise to her. If you read the conversation and in the comment section, I made a pledge that I would do, you know, that I would do that. I want to go to Pendle Hill so that I can clear the names and do a cleansing for the Pendle Hill witches. I obviously want to do Salem. I originally wanted to build my very first alchemist cabin in Salem. I originally wanted to immigrate to Salem, but I can't go to America now. It's forbidden for me because Lucifer, because the Antichrist, has arisen. And now that I've done what I've had to do, it's up to God to deal with the rest of that. Because the old world is dying, as I've explained, and they're part of the old world, which has now been set on fire. And I'm to focus on the rebuilding of the new world. So now I've done what I have to do for Vladdy and all of that. I can focus on me and building what I need to build. But it's just the hilarity of divine timing. It's just proven everything that I've said about the video that I just uploaded. And it has completely tied in the Joan of Arc thing with the Joan White cemetery investigation so beautifully and flawlessly that it's just proved the video that I put up about destiny and fate to be absolutely spot on. Because I'm never wrong. Like, my physics is never wrong. Quantum magnetics is never wrong. And God is never wrong. He never leads you in the wrong path. He never leads you in the wrong direction. Even if, like, you can be 100% certain, yep, that's where I'm going, but when things happen that make you step back and go, whoa, hang on a minute, this is a sign that I'm headed down the wrong path. Don't question it. Just go, okay, it is what it is. There's going to be a reason for it. I'll just, repurpose myself and keep moving forward and just let that person or let that situation or let that mindset or let that whatever fade out and die and go away. Like, cutting the cord, energetically cutting the cord to it. And it will always lead you where you're meant to go. And as soon as I cut that cord, that video fell into my lap, and then the whole Joan of Arc, the goat, because that was the other thing as well. When I was watching the video, I remember thinking, like, how it's designed is exactly how I want my church and the foundation and that to look, because obviously I want to be able to cash in on Halloween, and his setting was very, very Halloween-y in this video of the, the investigation for Joan White. And just thinking how cool it was. And it started reminding me of Salem, thinking, God, it reminds me of Salem. It has that same energetic feel. Pendle Hill has the same thing, because obviously where witches have been buried, where people have been, persecuted and executed for witchcraft and stuff, the Heart of Midlothian and that as well, like, it all has the exact same feel. There's this heaviness there because they were cunning men and women who were completely innocent and misunderstood, persecuted by the church for the simple fact that the church hated the fact that these spiritual men and women had so much power and say over the lives of everybody in their little towns and villages. And of course, when the church came along, they wanted to control how you connected with your spirituality and with God and that. So they started executing and persecuting all the people that were deemed a threat to the church and religion, to, remove their influence so that they could have the control, right? Which is evil. Like, it's evil. They committed murder to get rid of the people who were healing people's body, because they were herbalists, they were naturalists, naturalists? Yeah, naturalists. For something I was thinking naturist, which is being naked. But, they were naturopaths and, healers and all of that. And the church needed you to obey their rules and their laws and their, because obviously 70% of the Bible was written by man. It's the word of man, the control of man, and not the voice of God, right? So then I've come along to tell people the truth. Because the 30% of the Bible that is true, if you look at it, regardless of what the church or religion will tell you, God had prophets like me. And God had women prophets like me. And God had women judges like me, like karmic judges. He promoted and supported that thing. He promoted moon and sun festivals, and giving offerings of nature, but not killing anything. Like Jesus came along and he's like, the Bible says, why are you killing these animals and making these sacrifices to me of things that are already mine? Like, that is my goat, so why are you killing the goat for me? That's my goat. Like, you're handing me something that I already own, but you're killing it to do it, and that's wrong. Like, don't do that. Don't kill anything in my name, basically. And Satan is the same. Don't kill anything in my name. I don't want it because it's a sin, right? So, yeah, so like the Witch of Endor, which is what Pearl is in the Art of Creation, she's from the Witch of Endor bloodline. God sent her, with the whole Solomon and David and Saul and all of that. Like, he had prophets and witches and that there to do the work for him the right way. But everybody else out there in the world does it the wrong way. So I've been sent to teach everybody to do it the right way, where you get dharma for it and not karma. Because karma takes you down a dark path the more karmic debt you accrue. Whereas Dharma elevates you and, gives you all the blessings and the rewards, with the grace of God, because you're doing God's work, right? And God can be whatever name you give it. Can be Allah or, Ganesha or Shiva or whoever your God is, that makes you want to be the best version of yourself for the sake of your bloodline, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of being a good person, for the sake of the elevation of the earth and all of that. That's who God is to you. To me, God is the atom, and atoms morph and change, and atom can be whoever I need atom to be in order to help me become the best high. World dies and the new one is born and Jesus comes down, and if on my X, we know Jesus is here now. He's hovering, he's getting ready to ascend to be, conceived and reborn. He can't do that until it's safe enough to do it, and I'm here to clear the path to make it safe for him to be conceived. And he says, like, basically, when this is over, I don't want temples and churches. I don't want you to have a middleman. What I want is for you to turn your heart into your church. Your heart is your temple, and if you put me in your heart, which is your temple, you can take me anywhere in the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I'm there. We can have this intimate conversation where I can teach you myself, where you're not needing, priests and clergymen and ministers and all of that, because I want you to have a personal relationship with me, because religion, up until the birth of the New World, has completely controlled the way mankind sees God and their connection to God. which is wrong. It's sinful. It's been evil. It's been all about killing and slaughtering and, taking and stealing and controlling and dictating and, tyrannical indoctrination of how a man is and how a woman is, and all that sort of stuff. And it's wrong, because that's not who God is, and it's certainly not who Allah is as well. That's just not what a God is. Gods don't have a problem with religion. Gods are perfectly fine for you to believe what you want, as long as what you believe in is for the highest benefit of you, your bloodline, your descendants, and the new world that's been built. So when I document my dreams and that, and people like St Joan of Arc come to me in these dreams and teach me these things, it's so that when I'm weaving my path together in order to show you the best way to bring fulfillment into your life, spiritually, financially, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever, because I'm like a prism, PRISM, I'm like a prism, I'm like quantum magnetics is like a Swiss Army knife of spiritual development. You can use it in so many multiple different kinds of ways that it's like a kaleidoscope of things and ways to learn from. Like people who are struggling with losing weight. Well, I mean, I've lost over 200 pounds, and I know how to do it in a way where you're not giving yourself harmful injections or taking, harmful drugs or anything like that, where you can still eat what you want, but you just have to give up sugar. But then I've also come up with recipes and cakes and all of that we will sell at the foundation, where if you still are craving sweet things, you can have the sweet things while you're losing weight and not have to worry about putting on weight, because none of it is the harmful sugars that are going to make you put on weight or give you depression, because obviously if you eat a lot of sugar, it causes depression, right? So so that's one aspect of quantum magnetics. And then there's the other aspect, which is like time jumping, which is my, my physics and that. But that's for me. That's not for anyone else. That's my supernatural abilities to be able to see through time, split atoms open and see through time and manipulate time. But I can show you how to manifest things in a healthy way, where by adding things and removing certain things and, turning your life into a kaleidoscope, it opens up multiple doorways for you to be able to manifest the things you want in a way that's not using my physics. Because if you try and take what's mine, there's a default setting where if you try to misuse or take or steal from my physics, it causes insanity and can lead to death. So anyway, but we're not going to go there. That's not what this is about. But that's just because of who I am. I'm a gatekeeper. So not everybody's allowed to go through those gates, but if you want to go through the gates to the other side, you have to earn it. You can't just take it or steal it or kill for it or sacrifice for it or, mistreat it or whatever. So the people who are marked to be saved, the people who are on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual development and spiritual betterment and spiritual empowerment and, psychological healing, mental healing, or same thing, emotional healing, physical healing, sexual healing, childhood traumas, all of that, all of that, I've got you covered. I've got it all sorted for you. So I'm handing you the answers. I hand you the answers to the questions you're seeking. And unfortunately, witches get such a bad rap because all the other people out there running around calling themselves witches are abusing it. They're not doing it the right way. But occasionally, just in history, there's little pockets of them, like Helen Duncan in Scotland. I mean, she was a witch. She was the last witch imprisoned here in the UK, and she was an absolute fraud. So I come along with people like Joan of Arc and say, this is what a real one is, this is what a fraud is, this is what a fake is. everybody loves the label of being a witch or, you know, a high priestess or a chosen one or blah, 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 but it's stolen titles they haven't earned. For example, if you are a chosen one, you will be mentioned in the Bible. You will be mentioned in ancient texts, you know, going as far back as I can trace my chosen path on cave paintings and, you know, in caves as cave paintings. Um, the white buffalo calf woman and all that, you know, like I can prove with evidence, with historical facts and historical evidence, that I am destined for the path that was laid out for me by my ancestors and by my ancestral gods. I can prove it. So if anyone says they're a chosen one or a gatekeeper or a high priestess, high priest, or a witch or a that or a blah, 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 you have the right, you have the moral and ethical authority to say, prove it. And not just, you know, oh, I can cast a spell and blah, 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 because spells by people who take titles they don't deserve will only work if you believe they have the power over you. A real witch uses supernatural magic. And I can prove I'm supernatural. I can literally conjure things out of thin air and make them happen, because that's what the supernatural is, right? So what I'm to do with my shows and when I travel around is go to these places like these cemeteries, lay my Tané Clay down, because, you know, there's all this, they've made like this whole tourist thing about it being paranormal. It's disrespectful to the dead. We're supposed to honour the dead and honour the memory of the dead in order to, you know, bring the past with us to the future, because the whole point of the past and history is that we're to learn from it so that we don't make the same mistakes. And the fact that there's a tourist industry, you know, for people coming to ooh and ah and, you know, point and stare at the tragic stories of these people who were hounded and persecuted and imprisoned and executed and treated really badly, simply for the fact that they knew how to heal people using nature and, you know, energy and all of that, and were a threat to the church. It creates a negative atmosphere that is palpable. You can feel it when you step in there, and then of course that creates paranormal activity. It's not Joan White being buried there that's causing the perceived quote unquote paranormal activity. It's the mindset of the people going there looking for it that manifests it. So then it's become like this whole, you know, mythological kind of urban legend thing that perpetuates the negative energy and creates the stereotype. It manifests the stereotype of paranormal activity because it's what they're going there to experience. Therefore, they create it. Rene Descartes, I think, therefore I am. You manifest what you create. So if you're expecting paranormal activity, you're going to have paranormal activity because you created paranormal activity because you expected it. Obviously having nothing to do with Joan White or the Pendle Hill Witches and that. It's all on you. It's all based on your choices, your actions and your mindset. So then I come along with people like Joan of Arc, who has obviously come down in the form of Joan White. You know, she's melded that Joan White's path with my dream, like obviously because Joan of Arc is a saint. So she's up there, you know, she's got the power of God behind her. She has access to all time and the supernatural. So she came down in that dream in 2020? Did I have it? 2020? Knowing that this video was going to drop on my lap and then I would link the two Joans together and find the answer to, look, hey, girl, sorry, you got to let that, what you've just had to let go, what you've just shut the door on, it had to happen. Because we've got something better for you, and we need you to focus on clearing the names of innocent witches and people accused of heresy and that. And then my answer back was, you do what you have to do. If you read the comments, I say to, like, I give myself over to a higher purpose. Like, you do what you have to do. I'm fully prepared. I'm ready to go. So the past was waiting for the future to happen so that I would bridge the gap, which is what a median is, MEDIAN. I bridged the gap to link the past and the future together in order to guide my path in the present. That's supernatural. That's my physics. That's quantum magnetics. That is absolute proof that I walk amongst giants in the biblical sense and the supernatural sense. It is absolute proof that I have the backing and support of the most powerful angels, saints, and archangels, and energy of divine grace. It's undeniable. So when I take all this stuff to court, there's no doctor, there's no scientist, there's no psychologist, no shrink, no judge, no cop, no detective, no one that is going to be able to explain that, what I've just pulled off, other than it being a biblical event. Pretty awesome, eh? I love my life. I love being supernatural. I love what I am. I walk amongst saints and angels. And they love me and they back me because I'm here serving a higher purpose. So it says to me that deleting my X app and walking away from all of that was absolutely the right decision to make. Therefore, don't regret it. Don't question it. Just go, okay, that happened, fine. Because it means that what you were holding on to was dragging you. It wasn't meant for you. Don't fight for things that aren't meant for you. And certainly don't take any shit for it either. Because what I saw was absolute clarification to me that I didn't have the backing or the loyalty or the love or support where I thought it was, which is fine, because I'm so used to that now. I've had a lifetime of having to realise that, you know, what you give yourself to isn't necessarily willing to give you the same thing back, and that's completely fine. Don't be sad over it. Don't let it feed into your psyche. The test is put there so that your gods and your ancestors and that are saying to you, look at what needs to be looked at, because it's not where you're meant to be. You're basically walking into a wall, and they're putting a door, they're opening a door to say, walk through the door and shut it, let it go. Otherwise, you're just going to waste time walking into a wall where there's never going to be a door, there's never going to be a window. But if you realise that you're hitting a brick wall, the second you realise it and go, okay, I understand, then the wall vanishes, and then you've got that clear open path, and it's like, oh, I get it now. Okay, so don't fight things that aren't meant for you. Take the lesson, know what it is, recognize what it is. The second it happens, and I swear to you, it's like all that blockage and all of that pain, it just melts away. And then it opens up. And now obviously what it's opened up to is that I'm being told, Debbie, we need you to do these things and go to these cemeteries and spread the word and, you know, give the talk and teach people the truth about the supernatural and the paranormal and witchcraft and all of that, because especially right now when people are desperately seeking answers to things, because they're, you know, in countries like America that are burning in hell right now, they're needing the light of life and not the fire of destruction. And I'm the little candle. Little candle. So whoever needs to hear this will hear this, and it will heal them and it will help them. And then every time something comes up that is a little bit of a setback, or like a whoa, like why the hell did that just happen? Or, you know, if you're not understanding, why isn't this going anywhere? Like, why, even though I keep putting all this energy, why is it not going anywhere? Is because you're not learning the lesson from it, because history's there to learn from the mistakes. And when you haven't learnt your lesson, you get put in like a karmic loop, a karmic cycle. So you'll ascend, then you'll descend. You'll rise, then you'll fall, because it's like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. because there's a lesson there that you're not learning. I just had to delete my app. My ex account is still there. I just had to delete my app. And the second I did, once I saw what I had to see and I deleted my app, it was like everything opened up. And now I'm like, and now it's like confirmation, because like my favourite thing to do in the whole world, other than writing and being around my boys and feeding my boys, and that is my investigations, my historical grief investigations. I love to talk about the paranormal and the supernatural and investigations. And when we're out of here and I get a driver, I want to be able to go with my phone, like before, and go to places where historical things happened, go to castles, go to, whatever, and just record what I see, what I feel, make sure that I have my supply kit with me, with my my Tané, my Tané Clay and my, my spray and all of that, so that I can do what I have to do, but record it and investigate it. And then, educational. When I have my streaming service up and running, I'm going to turn it into a TV show. The Occult Private Eye, I'm going to turn it into a TV show, like Most Haunted and Ghost Whisperer and all that, because I'm basically, all I'm going to be doing is writing and lending voices to a couple of characters, because like the whole point of my foundation is to fill it up with jobs and create jobs for people who can do it all for me, so that I can just sit back and write and, run the company from home, but doing what I love, which is traveling with my boys, having adventures on a paranormal, supernatural, historical level. So I get to, that's what I want to do. It's what I love more than anything in the world. The thought of being in an office and all of that, well, no. But so it's obviously where they're wanting me to head to next. So yeah, so once my boys and I get justice, because we said as soon as we're together and I've got that money in my bank, I'll just, like I said, hire myself a driver, and then we're going to go drive around the UK, to go to all the places that they've marked out, and then we'll find somewhere to settle, because we want time to be able to figure out where we want to move to. And obviously, depending on what's happening politically in the world, is going to decide where we settle. But in the meantime, while we're travelling about, and obviously when we go home to New Zealand to see to see my whānau and my sister and my nieces and that, we'll tour around New Zealand, and then I'll be able to do it from like a Māori perspective, like show my boys the country. And then we want to stop in Australia, where my nephew and his wife got a whole pile of places there to take me to investigate. And then we want to go to Japan as well, where I want to go to Aiokigahara Forest and put my cleansing clay down there. So like it's all planned, it's all ready to go. And obviously this is what I'm being told I'm allowed to do. And then, we'll have the foundations going and been, up, at least the first one, and the works have been built and set up and all of that. But until then, this is where I'm being told to go next. So obviously I know I'm about to get justice. I know that I'm going to win my case. I know I'm going to get the money. I know I'm getting my boys back, and then I'll just hire a full-time driver and get a van, and we'll just stay, at Airbnbs and hotels and all of that, until we can sort of just regroup and re-energize and, figure out where it is we're going to live. Once we figure out where we're going to live, we'll pack all our stuff and, move in, and then we'll get on a plane and go home to New Zealand to see my sister and my 2 nieces and 3 nephews. And then, do the same thing there, hire a driver, drive around New Zealand and that, then go to Australia, so it's all planned, ready to go. My nephew's really excited to make these shows with me. Him and his wife are into this whole sort of thing. I was just helping her with a Yowie investigation, which if you're from New Zealand, Australia and that, Aussies have the Yowie, which is what everyone would call a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot or a Yeti. Aussies have the Yowie, so I was just helping her with that. So yeah, so there's like a load of things that we can investigate. He's made like a whole list, and he's going to come on the show. He's also going to be one of my voice actors for cartoons and video games and all of that. So I'm so excited. Then we'll go to Japan, and then we'll come back to wherever it is that we've moved in. By that point, I'll look at properties with land in that to build the foundation, because I know what I'm looking for. Like it's all set now. It's all planned, all set, all ready to go. Just waiting for justice, getting the money in the bank, getting my boys and them are off. So yeah. So anyway, I just love how God works with that divine timing. His timing is always perfect and hilariously ironic. Always proves me right. Always. So there you go. So I'll put links in the description box below. Otherwise, it's in my community section of my YouTube channel. It's all there. I love it. Oh God, I love my supernatural life. Ka kite anō. Mwah.